Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Josh,
And I'm Jordi.
And I'm Blake.
and you're listening to Punt Win Repeat plus Blake. We're talking about Punt City 5 today. We have it up here on the screen. Boys, what do you think about Punt City 5's metagame?
I think the only thing that really surprised me was Rocky Shy, in that there was less of it than I thought there would be.
It was still like a decent number, though, right? Wasn't it like...
There were 4 of them. 4 of them for a 130-person event is like, what, 2%, 3%?
Honestly, I was expecting to be closer to like Kinnan or Rockdrass. I thought it'd be like 8 Rocky Shies around.
Yeah.
And then it was just half that.
I don't know, I think the thing with these, not small events, but like events in that like 100 to 150 range is that you expect a lot of meta decks, but realistically, like, if Blue Farm is 10% of the meta, I don't know, that's probably not true, right? Then, that is only 13 entries, which is what we saw for this event, right? So it only takes, a handful of people bringing their pet decks to make it impossible to really have a large amount of any single deck. So, and there were some pet decks at this event, which is nice to see.
Yeah, but overall, I would say it was pretty much meta. I mean, we're looking at the top cut. You have Tim Necrom, Rockdrass, TNT. I think the outliers that did well were Sign of the Ur-Dragon, 2 people that made top 16. It's kind of a lot.
I wouldn't call that an outlier, but we could talk about that later.
Wait, sure.
Yeah.
There's a gift
an outlier deck as far as metagames.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything in the top 16 that was like super surprising. I'll say that.
I didn't expect to see a Leonardo and Michelangelo, to be honest.
Yeah. There's a Leonardo and Splinter as well.
Yeah. But yeah, 5 colors turtles is just 5 color turtles, right? It's a 5 color deck.
It's like Ezio, but you get a bonus commander.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think about the event itself, divorced from like how the tournament itself ran? Personally, I kind of liked it. It was like a throwback to a couple of years ago when we were all up there last time. I think it was like Punt City 2. The venue's great. It's a little small compared to some of the stuff we're seeing nowadays, but I thought it was run really well. No complaints there.
I think they phoned it in, to be honest. I think that they announced the event and then maybe decided that they didn't really want to. Not that they didn't want to do it, but didn't want to put it. There wasn't as much effort into this one as it felt like there was in Punt City 2 or 3. Which is okay.
What do you mean by that? Like, was there something specific that stuck out?
There was no stream game. There was. I don't know. That's the only example I can think of, but I don't know. The other ones felt more like spectacles to me, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, yeah.
I think that it was like definitely smaller, and the budget was probably a lot tighter, because even if you do the math, like 10K for 128 players, like it's like around 3K on entries above. So I can understand not wanting to bring out all the stream equipment and set all that stuff up. But regardless of that, judging was great, Baldy's great. I have no complaints.
Also, there were lots of very, very minimal things. Like I remember early on in the tournament, they had to rearrange some tables because there wasn't enough table space.
Yeah.
Which is just like small miscalculations, but like I don't know. I think it ran smoothly. I mean, we went through all the rounds really quickly. I actually didn't know that it was going to be 5 rounds, and then top 16 was day 2.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed about that, actually. I think we easily could have had 6 or 7 rounds.
We've talked about this before, but I think 5 rounds is right for that amount of people.
Yeah, it felt fine. Honestly, after the fact, I thought it was totally fine for the number of people.
I think 7 rounds would be crazy, but 6 rounds.
I think it's more like you have the venue space anyways, and more rounds doesn't really hurt. So, I don't know, throw in another round or 2. but it's not like a huge complaint or anything like that.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people that go there, they were happy to have the redemption event like the next day, pretty quick,
sure.
and they got to sleep in an extra hour. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. All right, now the fun one. How do we feel like we played during the event? All three of us did play in the event, by the way. You want to start with Blake?
We're just watching. Yeah, I came in 11th. I was playing Ral, of course. Came in 11th. I went to 1-2 in Swiss, and then I lost top 16, so I guess 2-2-2 on the weekend. Honestly, I had not played CDH in like 2 months prior to the event, and even like a week or two before the event, I was really considering not going because I just don't find the format super fun right now. So with that in mind, I think I played pretty well. I think there were a few small things that I felt like every game I could have won, and like the 2 draws that I had felt like very natural forced draw. Maybe I shouldn't call that natural, but like very forced draws in which I didn't have a whole lot of a say in it. Where like I had a win on the stack, somebody else had it packed and could kill themselves, and there was another player that had whatever 40 cards in hand. Sure, whatever. My second game of the event, which was at a loss to Charles on Mono Green Cabbage Man or Merchant. That game felt like a game I shouldn't have lost, and that lost that game because of another player. And I think we might talk about this later, Jordi, but like that Cabbage Man Merchant deck kind of feels like that's how that deck really succeeds.
I think that's going to be at least the beginning part of what you were saying is going to be a running theme of like, I felt like, I mean, the last time that we really played was at CCS, right?
Yeah.
After that, I mean, I hadn't played my deck since CCS, the 20K, until like the morning of the tournament when we all sat down and started playing. Maybe once after, but that's it. Yeah, fun game. And other than that, I've just been like experimenting with random bullshit like Plagon and Rog Thras Cheerios and stuff like that. So going into it, I was also like, I think we're all feeling the stress of like, man, we have not been playing at all. And with that in mind, I think I played like fine. I think that I played pretty average. I definitely think that I could have picked up. I think I definitely could have picked up an extra game, like one extra game, but I think that's it.
Well, you had the best record as is, anyways, right? You went.
Yeah.
What was it? 3-2-1 in Swiss.
In Swiss, it was
3-1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the finals. I forgot that top 16 and top 4 count in your total record. So
yeah.
For me, I'm way down here in the boonies in 45th place. But 1-2-2. Realistically, going into this, I have been playing basically 0 CEDH. I've been doing a lot of judging and other stuff. I think the last big event I played was... When was the last big event I played? I can't even remember. I'd have to look it up, but it was...
We can literally look it up. If you want to keep talking, I can look it up. And
yeah, I mean, it was probably well over a year ago. I did some other, like, 30, 40, 50 person events, little smaller things, but nothing crazy. So I was kind of flip-flopping between decks. Ended up on Blue Farm, but realistically, I think that I probably could have top cut it if I just had practiced a little bit more. I think my round 4 was definitely winnable, and my round 5 was definitely winnable if I just did a more disciplined mulligan instead of getting greedy.
do you want to talk about your deck decision? Because you were basically between my deck and Blake's deck.
Oh my god. So I played a lot of Ral. I think I'm a pretty good Ral pilot. I didn't really want to bring it because I was expecting a lot more of slop meta. And Ral's fine in the slop, but like you really have to be going quick before they get all of the heuristics set up. Otherwise, you're
Not
just
very
going to get
fun.
buried. Huh?
It's fine, but it's not very fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Also.
Like you go fast, and if you go fast underneath everybody, you can pull it out. But like if the game starts with like turn one fish from 2 players, you're just like, I mean, this got monumentally more difficult. So I was gonna play Ral, didn't really want to play it in the slop. Kind of bubbled around. I was brewing with a Wanchitong list that I actually still really like, but it just kind of feels like bad Kinnan, bad NBC Kinnan specifically. I lost.
Real quick.
yeah.
What I'm saying here is your last 100+ event, at least on top deck, was Saltfest.
Oh god. So like 2 years ago?
That can't be.
That's what I'm looking at your profile, yeah.
It's like 2024, right? Actually, I have the playmat. It's April 2024. This Saltfest. I have the playmat on my desk right now. Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of playing. But yeah, anyways, Wanchitong, I lost like 10 games in a row on it. Still brewing it, didn't have it in a good spot. And eventually I was just like, fuck it. I know Blue Farm's good. I like Jordi's list. I'm just gonna copy it and change a couple little things. And it felt good. So.
Yeah. Blue Farm.
Anyways.
Hard to feel bad on Blue Farm, right?
Hey man, specifically my list, okay? Specifically my list.
Surveillance.
I'm
good.
20 cards different. I'm 20 cards different from your average TNK like list. That's a lot. That's
I will
20%.
Say, we'll get into recaps here in a second, but the best part about playing specifically this Blue Farm list was people would be going for wins, and I would have like 2 different pieces of interaction in my hand where I was like, I can just stop you. It's just a matter of whether or not it's beneficial for me to do it now. And I was the only person, I think, in any of my games that board removed anything. So,
yeah,
outside of like OBM. So yeah,
people are just not playing board interaction anymore. I think it's crazy. Lightning Bolt has been such an overperformer.
Yeah. I'll also say I red blasted 2 heuristics, so I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
Ban that card, by the way. Ban Ristic Study. Let's go over top 16 now. Like, keep things.
I want to talk about a game or a idea a little bit before we get to top 16. This is my second round, which I said I lost. Charles on mono green, Merchant won.
Yeah.
I think the interesting point about this game, like I said, I think that was a game that realistically, based off what happened, if one of my opponents is another person, I win almost 10 times out of 10. But I kind of want to talk about their choice and why that happened, I suppose. Basically, it was a spot where I had a Storm of Memories, which, for those of you that don't know the card, it's basically Mind's Desire, but for your graveyard, with like a Storm of 20 or something. All right. If that happens, like, the game's over. I've won. And Charles had a he had a Dampening Sphere in graveyard with an instant speed regrowth and a way to play an artifact at instant speed, like a creature that allowed him to play artifacts at instant speed.
Shimmer Mirror or whatever.
Yeah, one of those. And basically, he targeted the thing with his regrowth, and the player in between us they had a way to kill the Shimmer Spear. It was like super obvious if that happened, like Charles wins the game. He's got essentially infinite mana, a ton of clues, right? He's got his Academy Manufactor and whatnot. I know it was basically a point where he was like, I can force a draw here. I have a way to kill your thing. If you can't play the Dampening Sphere, you know, I win the RAL. I win with my Storm of Memories. If you do play the Dampening Sphere, you win. Either way, he has no equity in that game. He's losing to one of us. I accepted that. I didn't have an answer for either of them, and you know, I agreed to a draw. And Charles said no. He did not want to draw. And what usually I feel happens in that spot is that you kill their thing, right? Like that's how draws work, like threats work. If you make the threat, like, and they say no, you you have to basically king make, essentially, right? And the third player didn't do that. They allowed him to get his dampening sphere and play it, and then win that, same turn or whatever. And the thing I want to talk about, and something I talked with them about after the game, and I was like, why would you pose the draw if you weren't going to do it either way, right? And something he said that I thought was interesting is he's like, I asked for the draw. I'm like, in those spots, you're not, like, essentially what's happening is not that you're asking, you're demanding, right? And if somebody doesn't agree with that, you have to follow through with your threat, right? Like, it's not a threat if you never follow through with it. And I told them, maybe I said it maybe a little mean, but I said, like, your word when it comes to draws now, to me at least, means nothing, right? Like, if I ever play you again, I'm never going to trust you on a situation like that again, because I mean, you didn't do it, right?
Yeah. There's probably sorry, finish.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think that's a thing to know when it comes to draws, but also maybe just a little bit politics in general. Like, if you're gonna make a threat like that, you do have to follow through with it, or you don't get to make threats with that in the future, with the same people, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a thing where it's like, when a thing becomes a cultural norm, like forcing draws, I would call a cultural norm. Some people kind of just take it for what it is and forget the reasons that it came about in the first place. Like, the reason forcing a draw works is because you're basically saying, I am making a threat, and I'm saying, hold on, just give me 1 second.
I'll
You're essentially saying, I'll king make the person that...
Where we can push for a draw.
All right, hold on a second, guys. I paused the recording for a second, so we just got to pick it up from where it was. So, what I was saying is it's a cultural thing, and also, sorry guys for the pause on that was very abrupt. But basically, it's a cultural thing for a reason, but sometimes you kind of like get used to the norm and forget why the norm is a thing. When you're forcing a draw and saying, I have a piece of interaction and I want to draw, that's not really all that's going on. The implication behind it is, I can stop this win attempt, but I don't want to, because the next person will just win. So I'm holding both of you at gunpoint and saying, I want to draw. If you say no, I'll stop you, and if you say no, I won't stop the other guy. Like, it's basically a standoff. So if someone says no to the draw, that means that you should do the game action that directly affects the person that said no. Maybe in the hopes that they change their mind quickly and you can still get the draw, or just to follow through on what you're doing, which is threatening the table.
Yeah, and they did the opposite, right? They let the person that said no win, which just doesn't make sense.
You're like feeding the wrong behavior for your thing.
So you're losing out on equity, right?
Yeah. The round after that, I had something similar happen with him, where the Rogside player that was going off was asking for a draw because he got stopped by the Cabbage Man. And looking around, I had made a deal with him that I wouldn't win on my turn, something like that. And I could have done like a partial like breach combo, wiped his board, and like just passed. And I felt too bad doing that, and so I just passed to him, and then he was able to just take the game. And so that's the one game where I'm like, I should just like put him dead and then passed, but I just decided not to. But that was with Rogsai, Zuladoc, me, and then Cabbage Man.
That game was kind of weird to watch.
Yeah.
We can talk about that Cabbage Man deck. Like, I guess we can just talk about it really quickly now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we're gonna. I played it in top 16, and Jordi played it in top 4, right? So we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get into that then. So top 16. Blake, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. I was 3rd seat. Charles on Cabbage Man was in 1st seat. We had a blue farm player in 2nd seat. I didn't know this at the beginning, but like, he was playing the turbo slanted version with Rograk and Flare and cards like that in it. And then we had a Magda player in 4th seat. I mulled to 5, I think. One of the things that was interesting about that game is that the Blue Farm player could, like, snap kept first 7. Uh, like jumped the gun before Charles even said it, like, just kept. And it was very obvious to me that, like, one of two things is happening here, right? They either have a turn 1 necro, or they have a fish, right? And I'm right behind them. Like, obviously, I'm going to end up feeding the fish. They ended up having the turn 1 necro. I think there are two important things about that game. They had turn 1 necro, and they played it extremely scared, and they lost the game because of that. I also had a fish turn 1 on, like, a mold of 4, and I was the only other blue deck at the table, and they were extremely worried about me having interaction or drawing interaction after they went for their necro. That's just not really how route works. So that's kind of like an understanding of my deck, right? Like, I can have interaction, but it's not super likely. And in that spot, I did have interaction. I had a pact, but also, like, this is top 16. I'm not just gonna pact a random spell and kill myself, unless somebody else has, like, backup to save me or whatever. And then another weird thing is on turn 2, he, instead of doing it to me, he tried to orange chant the Magda player because they held up mana, and then the Magda player redirect lightninged it back to them, so, like, they couldn't storm off that turn. Honestly, I think that the Blue Farm player should have won that game. I think if you, like, replay that 10 times or 100 times, right, and you, like, take the other path where they just immediately push, they probably win, like, 90% of the time. But basically, the interesting spot that we got to was that they went to, like, 2 life, and they didn't find a flash speed win. And they had to sculpt a 7. They also screwed that up because they didn't crack a necro or crack an LED in response. But anyways, they were the only blue deck at the table, so it's like, I want them to die. They're to my right, and the other 2 players want to keep them around. And essentially, what happened is that they stayed around, but they got into a spot where, like, they needed to put a win on the stack. They have a necro. They're not drawing extra cards, right? And, like, I recognize that, but they just weren't doing it, and I kind of just had to wait for them to do it. They just started making deals with the Cabbage Man to, like, live, right? So that they wouldn't kill them with combat damage. And the deals they were making were just atrocious. I don't know how else to put it. It was like, the Cabbage Merchant would play Nature's Rhythm, and they'd be like, this is fine, but you can't attack me. And the Cabbage Merchant would be like, okay. And then they'd put the second Nature's Rhythm, like the Harmonize on the stack, and they'd be like, okay, I'll let this one resolve, but you can't attack me again. I'm like, well, dude, you just made that deal. Like, they already can't attack you. And,
yeah, I mean, you're probably dead if someone resolves 2 Nature's Rhythms.
Well, that's eventually what happened is, like, they went to put a win on the stack, or they put a Voice of Victory on the stack, right? And me and them were kind of working together because we realized that the biggest thing about this game is that the Magda player had a way to get Portal of Phyrexia, but they only had 4 treasures, and we knew the Blue Farm player had a offer in hand, and we tried to make me and the Magda player, like, propose some deal where they put a spell on the stack, you counter with the offer, they get 5 treasures, they wipe everybody's board. And the Blue Farm player said no because they didn't want to lose their Tymna. While the Cabbage Merchant had Merchant and Took and Academy Manufacturer on the board. And it was like, well, we're dying here. And then it happened again where, like, they put their Voice of Victory on the stack, and the Cabbage Merchant put a Cord on top of it. And they had 2 counter spells in hand, and they let it resolve. And I was like, we're dead. Like you can't just keep letting their spells resolve, which is what happened. And unfortunately, like, I just didn't. I mulled low. I played Aristic. They immediately bounced it because they thought they were going to go off for Necro that turn, but they didn't go off, and I recast it, and it was just like, it was a mess. So yeah, I think that kind of says how I feel about that Cabbage Merchant deck. Is like, Charles is a super nice guy. I maybe that says more about like the quality of the players at this event. I think it was not like maybe as high as some of like the other platinum or diamond level events I've been to. I think that he probably stole some wins based off people not knowing how his deck worked. Which, I mean, Burr's advantage, right? But,
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that, like, I want to just say it now. Like, I think Cabbage Merchant is definitely a deck that's parasitic to, like, your opponent's decisions. You need a lot more time to get things rolling, but once you get things rolling and you have your Academy Manufacturer and Cabbage Man in play, it's very, very easy to just sit back and not look like a threat, but still accrue a ridiculous amount of value and win over the top with things like the Shimmer Mirror.
They look like a threat for sure.
Well, like, you know what I mean, though. It's like you sit back and you have a lot of mana, and you have a lot of.
You give them an inch and an inch is a mile in that deck.
Yeah.
For me, Cabbage Man is a board deck, and it just reminds me a lot of like Rock Thrash or Tyam or traditional Sisei. These decks that just like once they have this board state, you're just not going to beat them no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But anyways, Jordi, your top 16. How'd that go?
My top 16, if you guys remember, it was a 3-hour cutoff, and my top 16 went for 2 hours and I think 45 or 50 minutes. It was a long slog of a game. I kept my first 7 was like a turn 1 Polywog Prodigy. And Nala kept like Nala got fucked. It was like it kept like a 3 or a 4 or something, like not much going on. Yoshi Thrust kept their second 7, if I remember right. And then Scion also mulliganed low. Can't remember exactly the number, but it was low. I went turn 1 Polywog, turn 2 Timna, and then I copied my Polywog with Mockingbird. So I just had like lots of value. Yoshi Thrust eventually got a Rhystic Study into play, and then we just started the Rhystic Slog. And so Rhystic Slog takes forever. This was a game that like I felt really bad after because it culminated in on my turn. Before my turn started, someone tried to interact with the board, and I was telling the table, no, you shouldn't do this because X, Y, and Z. And they ended up chain of vaporing my Wishclaw Talisman, and I said, okay, then I'm going to, I'll bounce the Ranger Captain because that would stop me on my turn. And then they chain of vapor something on my board again, and then I chain of vapor the Orcish Bowmaster that I kept telling them that I can't win through as long as it's in play. And so the Orcish Bowmaster was a clone, not a regular Orcish Bowmaster. I should make that clear. So all that happens, and then we get to my turn, and I'm like, all right, there's no Ranger Captain, there's no Bowmaster, but I promised I wouldn't win on my turn. So part of my line was to go Hexing Squelcher into Grand Abolisher, and then Praetor's Grasp the Anala player's Final Fortune to take an extra turn. And therefore completing my deal of I'm not going to win on my turn. I'll win on my next turn. Yeah, I mean, obviously kind of like a tricky not like, what do you call it? Misrepresenting, I guess. Like
we found out that Jordi's a liar this event.
Yeah.
I fucking hated it so much. So this turns into a very long stack war because Rhystic games is just what happens. Long ass stack war, and my game plan was to Praetor's Grasp Anala's Final Fortune. They, in response to the fight on the Grand Abolisher, demonic consultation, and they exile the Final Fortune and turn me into a liar, son of a bitch. It sucked really bad. I wasn't a fan of it, like, because I just don't like being in those positions.
Yeah.
But the game was going to be either a draw or me winning on that turn. So
And
I
you were
just took a
first
bunch
seed.
of game, and I was first seed. Yeah, the draw means I win anyway. So it just ended there. I mean, I finished out my breach combo, and I asked them if they just wanted to concede, so I didn't need to like play it out, and they just made me play it out. So I was like, all right, then this is what I'll do. I'll mill you guys out. I'll hold up this things so that I just like guys let somebody else's turn and we don't need to worry about anything. And that was how that top 16 ended.
I do think that just watching that game, one thing that I wanted to bring up was Jordi on board had a hexing squelcher and an oppo agent, and his opponents played into both of them like
Multiple
4 or 5 times in the same turn, which obviously not great. Playing into onboard interaction sucks. Again, like it was a super long game, right? You're 2.5 hours in. Like you're gonna be, I'm gonna be making mistakes at least. I don't know. Maybe you guys are better than me, but
no, I mean it's a long game.
We would be lying if we said that we had never played into an opposition agent that's been on board for like 3 turns. Like it just happens. You get tired.
People just. Yeah, that's part of the power of the card too. Is like people just forget about it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then you get to be that guy that's like, all right, so you're passing priority? Okay, I'm gonna pass priority. You passing priority? All right, cool. Give me your deck. Let me see your hand.
no.
Thank you. Jordi, you want to talk about top 4 real quick?
Yeah, top 4.
Here.
Yeah, we can just go over the controversy because the game was really quick. I mean, it was Cabbage Man on the play. I'm in seat 2, Kin in seat 3, and then Jorman seat 4 on TNT. And Jorman and Big Bear, the Kinnan player, are known to be friends. And basically what happened was in my hand, I had like a Breach, a Lines of Diamond, a Grinding Station, Esper Sentinel, and Pact, and something else. And so that was my hand. But basically the way it turned out was Jorman went for a really risky turn 1 decon to go find Necro, cracking Lines Eye Diamond to be able to cast Necro. He exiled all the win condition in his deck. Honestly, I went through it, the exile pile, I went through everything that I could possibly think of. Predator Dress was gone, Finale was gone, Thoracle was gone. There was no more Hazel Brewmaster Devoted Druid combo to go for to just like maybe infinitely cast something. So I couldn't think of a win condition, but I know that Jorman's a known liar, so I figured he might have something to back up, some reason to stay in the game. It circles back. Cabbage Man casts Cabbage Man on 2. I decide to just play like a piece of value out, pass, and then Kinnan is able to copy the Necropotence and like refill. I'm like, all right, well that fucking sucks. And so it gets back to Jorman. He puts out a Hope of Girper. Cabbage Man puts out the green creature that sacrifices 3 foods to draw a card.
Peregrine Took,
and then I untap, and I decide to be like, well, this game's not going to go much longer, so I'm just gonna push. I cast Rite of Flame, and Jorman and Robert exchange hands. Robert asks Jorman if he should counter the Rite of Flames, and Jorman's like, yeah, it's his only red mana, so you should counter that. I'm like, all right, packed it, and then he has a force to back it up, which just it stops my win for that turn, so I decide to Psychriff the Kinnan so that he can't go. I play my Lines Eye Diamond to pay for my pact on my turn, and just cross my fingers that he doesn't just kill us. Gets to his turn, he goes for another Necro, he doesn't not able to win that turn, he just refills, he passes. Jorman decides to Hope swing at the Cabbage Man. This was kind of like a long pause. He swings at the Cabbage Man after the Cabbage Man shows him almost every card in his hand and tells him his game plan of, I'm going to go find the Academy Manufactor. The one card he didn't show Jorman was a Crossing Grip. When he does that, in my head I'm thinking, well, the only reason you would do this, at least if you don't want Kinnan to win, is if you think you can stop Kinnan and then push and win on your turn, because you know that I'm not going to have any cards in my hand, and you just turn off the other player. But what actually ended up happening is he just turned off the cabbage men so he can't interact. Gets to my turn, I pay for my pact and just discard my entire hand. It gets to Robert's turn, and then Robert just wins with 0 resistance from the table. So the controversy there being, I mean, if he doesn't have any interaction for Robert, then he definitely just like threw that game to Robert for sure. I've heard speculation here and there from a bunch of like different people about what could have happened. I heard, you know, I can't confirm anything that happened outside of that game, but I can confirm that inside the game, it definitely looked like what it was, more than likely. So that was my top 4.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't even have much to say about that. Like, sacking the hope there is obviously just throwing the game to someone else. So, like, you're allowed to do it. It's no big deal. But also, it's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Fucking lose.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
Right. That's Punt City 5, I guess. You guys have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good there. Keep it nice
No.
and concise. Go back to cubing a little bit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Watch some Love Island.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We are done. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Don't forget to check out Sunset Showdown and subscribe and the Discord.
Yeah, we're hosting a 10K in South Florida. I'll post the information in the link below. And if you don't
Also,
play, you're dead to me.
Also, I am now a part of Monolith, and I need to do my quick thing for Monolith real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me pull that up because I am not graceful whatsoever.
We're very high quality professional here. We had this planned out beforehand, and you know.
Yeah, definitely planned out before. Basically, shout out to Monolith. I know I have it somewhere here, but I guess we'll just save it for the next video. But yeah,
buy heavy play.
Yeah. Like you do it.
I don't. Heavy play's the only one that I know.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure there are other sponsors.
Yeah, we have a bunch of different ones.
Here, I'll pause it for a second. Jordi figured it out.
On the blurb. All right, so this is supposed to be something I would say at the beginning, but here we are. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening and chatting with us. I'm proud to represent Team Monolith. I really am proud to represent Team Monolith. I don't want to say that's part of the blurb, but you know, I think it's really cool. We're like focus on competitive CDH, prepping stuff, performance, just community growth in general. Honestly, that's kind of why we, like me and Josh, kind of started doing more stuff with PWR in the first place, and like Monolith is kind of an extension of that. So I think it's really cool to have like that whole kind of community growth aspect. Definitely follow PWR, follow Team Monolith. If you have any questions or anything, always reach out. You know, we're always kind of looking at basically everything that we're posting, so would definitely appreciate that. And then other than that, definitely shout out to Heavy Play and whatever their newest product is. Definitely researched that one before we started. And if you're shopping with any of our partners, make sure to use code Monolith. You get money, so I like money. I'm sure you like money. Money's pretty cool. And that's it.
My God, what a corporate shill.
Well rehearsed.
No, seriously, we like Monolith here, so go support the sponsors. Congrats, Jordi, for being on the team. We haven't said that yet. I don't think we've addressed it in any videos before this. So.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Oh, yeah, also use Play Nice. I know they're a sponsor, but honestly, like the way that you can like look at all your stats and shit is pretty fucking cool.
If I had a deck that I wanted to upload to Play Nice, I probably would. But
I just forget.
You just use your top deck profile. If you put your top deck in, you can just run all. It just pulls all your stuff.
Oh, maybe I will then. Okay, we've been.
And then you can how each of your decks does over time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, fucking go.
Hell yeah, use play nice. I think we're done. Now we're actually gonna say goodbye. Come to our 10K, October 10th and 11th. $100 and something
Do it.
entry. We love you. Goodbye.